Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live every Wednesday on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Well, it was an interesting round of NRL this week with a few dominant performances, a few upsets, and another disappointing Warriors effort. How are you, and what did you think of the round?
Not too bad, mate, considering. Yeah, one of those dominant ones was our game, unfortunately, and we were on the wrong side of it. So, yep, hence the still hates league. Yeah, it's just deflating. But, we should be used to it.
Yeah, I joined you on the hating league part. I wasn't a happy chappy the weekend.
No.
As you know, the missus is away on holiday in Fiji, and I'm sitting here in the cold weather by myself watching that Warriors game. And, really disappointing. The girls had a good game, though. I only managed to watch the second half because the NRL was playing at the same time. And I don't know if you had any issues with it, but Sky was playing up. I couldn't watch the first half of the first game on Saturday. It had a loop of the 75th minute of a rugby union women's game, and it just kept playing it over and over again. And I went on to social medias, and everyone was having those issues. They got it right around halftime, though. It didn't seem to affect everyone, but seemed to affect a lot. But thankfully, I watched replays. So I caught up with the game. We'll talk about all those later. But while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 23 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, fantasy teams at the tipping comp. We'll then answer questions from you guys as well as questions we're prepared for each other. We'll then preview round 24 and discuss who we're picking. And that'll be it for tonight. So remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show, and we may as well jump straight into the top stories.
Yep, let's do that.
First one, I changed it up, mate. So the notes you have are different. You can't prepare.
Nice.
Keeping you on your toes. There's a few more that I added, but the NRL apparently are going to review the rules of when a trainer is allowed to enter the field and how long they should stay on the field during the end of season review. So there was another kind of issue with the trainers where one of them got hit by a ball when they were in the trying to score points. There's been no word on if there'd be a fine. I know there were a lot of Panthers fans chirping, saying there should be a big fine. Doesn't seem to be the case, but I know it's been a very heavily debated topic throughout the week about why do they need them on all the time? They should just keep them off. I know Gordon Tallis said the Water Boys shouldn't be out there a minute into the game. What do you reckon? Do you reckon they're going to make some rules? Or
the worst part about that incident was it didn't deter them at all. If you watch after that, the trainers are on there for whole complete sets.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I guess just with a couple of incidences we've seen over the past couple of weeks, it's people are watching it a bit more. They've just got so much involvement, eh?
Yeah, well, because I don't notice it as much in the Warriors games because I'm usually watching other things, but I don't see the Warriors trainers as much as you do in the other games. And there's a few other teams I could say the same about. It seems to be a handful of teams that always seem to have a guy out there. Broncos used to always have Alfie out the back. It felt like he was playing. So it's not just the Panthers and the likes, but we'll see what happens. You can make as many rules as you want. I think it's all going to be about how they enforce them. Because like you said, they had a hell of a fine last week and it didn't change any of the behavior. So time will tell.
Money's not going to change things. Points will change things. Money, it's all about winning. If you win, who cares what it costs?
True.
Yeah, I think they could even do a 3-strike rule where you get your 3, you get a warning, you get a fine, you get a ban. On the 4th, you get points deducted. But then maybe people will say that's too lenient as well. I just don't want to see what happened in that Raiders grand final where that Roosters trainer got in the way and potentially cost the Raiders the grand final.
Simple. They're not allowed on the pitch, full stop. Only players and refs. No one else allowed on the pitch unless there's a stoppage. Done.
No, see, simple. We just got to talk to the union guys and we can sort this all out straight away. Next one, Big Tino has apparently informed the Titans that he will be testing his value on the open market come November 1st. Mal Meninga and the Perth Bears apparently are ready to give him a section of Perth to come there. And there's apparently a few other teams interested. I think we'll see that with a lot of players, with Perth being a potential destination now to either get a big payday out of them or to get a pay bump where you currently are. So it's a smart business decision, and I don't see the Titans turning a corner anytime soon. So it might be the right time to jump out of the ship.
As long as he doesn't wind up at the Broncos.
Yeah.
They can't afford him, surely.
No, you wouldn't think so. He'll end up at the Perth Bears or the Roosters.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Jacka says, in under 10s, the coach leaves the field and the kids play on with no trainers. That's true. It's true. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I could see Tino being a marquee signing for the Perth Bears.
Yep.
But, yeah, we won't know any of that stuff basically until our off season, since it kicks off in November. And I'm pretty sure we won't be doing the show in November, will we, Paul? When are you letting us off?
When's the Pacific?
All year round.
Yes.
Earn that money. Earn that money.
It's usually
When's
after the internationals.
Yeah.
I think that's, we could be around in November. I don't know. We did
goodness.
talk about the internationals last week. I didn't check the dates.
I keep trying to get the guys, folks. I keep trying to get the guys back on for special sort of one-off shows about big news and stuff that happens in the off season. They keep just blanking me.
I can't say it because she might be watching. The missus' fault. She wants the league season shorter, so I will actually spend time with her. If you're watching while you're on holiday, hello. I'm sure I can't get in trouble when you're in a different country, right? But yeah, speaking of the Titans, the NRL has confirmed that they should have received a penalty in front of the posts for high contact on Jaden Campbell, which would have leveled the scores. Wasn't the only high contact tackle that got let off. But yeah, it's one of those things. Some of these teams always get a sorry after the fact, which, you can't live in shoulda wouldas, but I guess it is frustrating. I've been on that side of things complaining about those calls before, so I feel their pain. But what do you reckon? It seems like this week they were going away from high contact calls.
Yeah.
After calling them for so long.
That's the trouble, is the inconsistency of the way it's officiated. I couldn't care less about the Titans. I hate the Titans. They always beat us. But yeah, that's the trouble. Is one week it's a penalty, the other week it's not. One team gets a penalty, another less glorified club down the bottom half of the table, maybe not, like the Titans. So that's the issue, really.
Amanta said with Tino, he's not sure he's that good, solid, but nothing that stands out. New team may force him to refresh his career. Yeah, I don't think he's not marquee signing worthy in the traditional sense, but he might be the biggest player they can actually get. But yeah, he isn't a guy you can build a club around and win a title, which the Titans have shown.
I think he'll command marquee dollars.
Yeah. And yeah, before we move on to high tackles, the Warriors one in question I was talking about, Dimitri Vawanga, got hit high and they said there was no penalty because he ducked into the tackle. He barely ducked, and we've seen it with James Tedesco where he'll slip and get hit high, but he's literally getting hit a meter off the ground and they'll get pinged for a hit high. So I don't know where it came from. If that's the way they want to move it to going forward, I'm all for it, but I just wanted to stay consistent. I've never seen it before. But yeah, it is what it is. Definitely wasn't the reason why the Warriors lost that game, that's for sure.
No.
Cowboys coach Todd Payton admitted the refs got the call right to deny his side a final try, but commented on Mitch Moses diving, saying he's seen the playmaker dive plenty of times over the years. It was a hell of a dive. I agree with him.
It was.
You can deny the try, but yeah.
It came across very salty.
Yeah, I still don't know how you can get the milking out and like the diving.
It's tough.
I want to see it go. I don't like seeing it. I don't like players putting it on. We saw it on both sides in the Warriors Bulldogs game. Dellen's the big milker of the Warriors team. He stayed down to get a penalty, and then you saw it the other way where Stephen Crichton flew back meters and meters from a shove to earn his team a penalty. So I want to see it gone. I just don't know how you can do it, because there'll be one where they don't give something or they penalise a player for milking, and then you find out they actually got hurt.
Yeah, I cringe when Dellen does it, because I always say I hate milking, and then he's really bad for it. The amount of tackles he reels out holding his jaw is crazy.
I don't want to say it, but at the moment it feels like he's either milking or he's going to do an incorrect play the ball. It seems to be either or. And Paul's just mentioned Titans are the first team to be ruled out of finals footy. Yeah, apparently every other team still has a logistical chance of playing finals bar the Titans. We'll slowly add to that tally, I think, in the next few rounds. But keeping on with Titans and Warriors talk, we talked a few weeks ago about Cam Pereira being surplus to requirements at the Titans. Apparently there has been noise the Warriors are interested in signing him. Sounds like the Titans have backed off trying to get him out of there immediately. So if the Warriors do pick him up, it wouldn't be till like 2027. But I said it back when the rumors first started about the Titans not wanting him, that I would like the Warriors to grab him so they could actually have someone with speed. You interested? I know there was rumors about Bailey Simonson wanting out of the Eels, and potentially the Warriors could go after him as well. But
yeah,
if I had to pick between the two, I'd go with AKP though.
Bailey's good. He's quite injury prone to trouble. Well, he has been up until this point. AKP, I think for me it would have to come at the right price tag. I wouldn't want to be busting salary cap over that signing.
I don't think they would. I think the Warriors have got a lot better at getting decent offers down rather than just throwing the truck at everybody. The Mantis has also said Cam Pereira or promote Sio Kali. Yeah, he scored a hell of a try in the weekend. So he must be getting close because he has got pace.
Yeah.
Jacko said AKP would be a hell of a pickup, but we need him for 2026. Yeah, I would be more interested if we could get him immediately. And Bjorn said straight swap with RTS, maybe going to R360. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people that have been like saying no to it, not thinking ahead of the fact you've got Dallin and Roger ain't going to be around probably past 26. So you need others. Even if you promote CO, you still need another one. And yeah, I don't see Team Tuapiki becoming a regular first time like winger. He'll want to stay as a fullback. So
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. But yeah, CO seems to be the only one in reserve grade that has genuine pace for the outside backs. So yeah, it'd be good if they had AKP and CO Kali on the wings. It'd be fix all those speed problems, that's for sure. We'll see. Time will tell. It'll be one of those specials Paul wants us to do, I'm sure, if it gets announced. The Bulldogs are rumoured to be ready to offer Corey Harawira-Naera a train and trial deal for 2026. He obviously has been away from the Raiders with that big injury and had to get a lot of medical clearance to come back. Sounds like it's all tickety-boo, and yeah, Bulldogs seem to be the first team ready to give him the option. I think that for him, he'll probably be champion at the bit to take any deal from any club, but going to the Bulldogs isn't a bad place to go.
No, clearly not. They're in a very good spot right now, so not a bad place to try and get back into footy, for sure.
Yeah, so that's just another wait and see as well. And then Raider Trey Mooney has apparently signed a 3-year deal to join the Knights, but there's been nothing official announced. Apparently, there's some red tape around. He wants to have a bit more clarity on the coaching at the Knights and what's actually going to happen. I think he doesn't want to sign and then find out the coach that signed him is gone. Or maybe he wants to sign, but he doesn't want the coach that's there. He's not a big enough player, no disrespect to him, I think, for them to change their minds on what they're doing coaching-wise. But I can understand wanting to start at a new club and at least knowing who you got there. A bit like the Mitch Barnett scenario. He was signed by Nathan Brown, and then he said in the interview that when Nathan got sacked, he did actually contemplate trying to get out of the deal. Because he'd come over for Brown, and then I think he said his missus talked him around and he stuck and it's worked out for him. But I can see what happens, but we'll probably have an announcement next week or tomorrow even that he's signed. So we'll see. And Bjorn said, any cheese, Brandon Smith signing news with the new Colombian team. I forgot to put it in here. We'll throw it in now. He got stopped at the airport, Matt. It seems to be nothing of it, but on the way to go play their game this week, the Queensland airports pulled him aside and interviewed him for a few hours. The NRL integrity unit have been involved, but apparently he wasn't misbehaving on the flight or drunk or anything like that. So, and they let him go, and he was free to play that day. So, don't know. There was really nothing more out of it. Yeah, I forgot to put it in here, but we'll mention it, Matt. I hadn't heard it. Hadn't heard, you never, it's like you only focus on league for 2 hours a week on this show, Matt. Next bit of news, Shane Flanagan has extended his time as Dragons head coach. Yeah. So he's going to be head coach to at least the end of 2028. You happy? You happy that the Dragons got him on for longer, or you don't care?
I don't care. I'm sure you don't either. No.
I'm surprised that they've extended him this early, but yeah.
He's still getting He's still getting good performances out of them, but they're inconsistent though. That's the trouble. But yeah, I think he's building something for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot better than what they were without him. But yeah, so yeah, end of 2028 at the minimum. We'll go into Rabbits for a bit now. I feel a bit stink about this part, but it's been reported the Rabbits have told Lewis Dodd that he's no longer required at the club and can explore his options. This is another situation a bit like that one before. Lewis Dodd was signed by Demetrio, and then Wayne Bennett joined up and didn't like Lewis Dodd, so he's basically never had a chance. Wayne Bennett actually did speak about it and admitted that the club made a mistake signing him. I know some of the Rabbits fans were saying they think it was more we don't want to show Bennett doesn't want to show a Demetrio targeted player as a success. I don't know if it's that catty. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes. He is a hell of a footballer. He just hasn't had the opportunity. And it's fair to say the Rabbits haven't really been the right kind of team to try to show his wares right there this year because they haven't been that flash. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if an NRL team picks him up or if he goes back to Super League.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think he's had in that roster, they've been so ravaged by injury. He would have had an opportunity by now. I guess the coach just doesn't see that thing about him, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Mustn't do.
But we'll just see what happens. I think given a chance, he could do something. He just needs to find a coach that actually believes in him, I guess. Then Ricky Stewart, he's spoken about how some managers are conducting themselves. Apparently last week or the beginning of this week, the Raiders released a young player that claimed they were homesick for Queensland, only for the player to sign with the Panthers instead of returning to Queensland. So he wasn't happy with the manager using the homesick card, and then just obviously getting in his player a new deal in Sydney instead. We've spoken about it before. The Warriors, Raiders get a little bit too because of their situation, but the homesick card is an easy out if you just want to get your player out. We have it a bit different because in that scenario, it doesn't really matter what state you go to in Australia. It's still closer than New Zealand, I guess. But yeah, it's another thing. I don't know how the NRL can manage it. But yeah, it's a dog act.
That is a dog act, yeah. And Ricky being who Ricky is, that would grate him.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see if the NRL come up with anything for that. At the moment, they've had no comment, so we'll leave it there. And then the last bit before we get into signings and the like, the NRL announced that they've cleared the Sharks to use their home stadium for week 1 of the finals if they earn the right to host. A lot of people thought the NRL wouldn't let them do it because of the size of the stadium and whatnot, but yeah, they're given the go ahead. So in week 1, if they get a home final, they can play it there. So thought it was interesting news. I don't really care unless the Warriors have to go play there. But we've had okay success there, to be fair. So
we have done, yeah.
What about Warriors news? Whether they're allowed to use Ghost Stadium, or whether they have to go, or Mount Smart, or whether they have to go to Eden Park?
They let us last time, so I'm sure they'll let us this time.
Yeah, and it's twice the size of Shark Park, so surely
that is true. I think, what is it? Is it like 15,000 at Shark Park?
Yeah, something like that. It's not very many.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. They've got to focus on actually getting a home final first. But at least they've got that in the back of their mind, knowing that if they do, they can play it at home. So we'll move to signings. There wasn't too many. There were only extensions. The only brand new signing is Josh Kerr. He signed a 2-year deal to return to the Dragons in 2026. So he left the Dragons. He wasn't too happy there, and then now he's gone home. A good signing. I think he's a quality roster player. Not a superstar, but he definitely holds his own in the front. Then extensions, Matt. Tamati Martin, he's been extended by the Warriors till 2026. Kind of knew, I had a feeling it was always going to happen. Basically, there were rumors he was going to go to Super League and stuff like that, but I think I said he likes the hunting and fishing here too much. So he'd probably take a pay cut to just stay home. And I know it's been mixed because in 2026, they're going to have 5 or 6 potential halves. And that might be a bit too many, but we're seeing how the injuries go. But they'll have Luke, Chanel, Tanner Boyd, Tamati Martin, the young guy, Jai, I think his name is, that they signed from the Knights, and Jet Cleary. So there's a lot of them there.
I think how they used Tamati off the bench. I think
I think he's going to be a utility. I feel like he's going to be like the 2026 Lance O'Hire, where they're just going to kind of fit him in where they need. And you're not paying. I don't think they'll be paying him a lot, so I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, happy for him to stick around. Adam Dewey has extended with the Tigers for another 2 years, which I think is massive for them. There was a lot of talk about him moving on. But yeah, happy to see him stick with the Tigers.
Yep.
Tyson Frizzell extended until the end of 2026 with the Knights. I think that's good. That's good for him and for the Knights. Jacko actually made a good point. TMM's good at 14, but it causes problems with Healy. That is the only problem, because you're not going to have Healy and TMM on your bench. And as we've seen, I really want to see Healy play more. And Bjorn asked, any news on Luke Metcalf re-signing anytime soon? He's free to talk in November 1. Yeah, there was talks with the Warriors, and then he got injured, so they kind of said, let's focus on getting you better before we start bringing this up again. I think it's horrible to say. I think it's actually probably benefited the Warriors, that injury, in terms of negotiations. Because if he was going the way he was, they were going to have to pay him a shitload of money to stick around, leading the Dally M's and everything. Probably would have had to pay him more money than what he's actually worth at the moment. The injury just kind of reminds everyone that he very seldom has finished a year in the NRL first grade. He's always getting injured. So it may have dampened some of the interest from other clubs. I think he'll stick around.
Well, they may have to ward off challenges from Perth Bears where,
That is true. So I'm not thinking they're going to get him at a cut price, but I think, there were potentially going to be chances where he could have ended up being $1 million player because of those other things. So I think he'll stick around. He's kind of got comfortable here. He's been given the reins of the team. He seems pretty confident in wanting to be the first halfback to win a premiership with the Warriors. So we'll see. And Robbie said, "What happened in your fantasy season?" I got screwed by injuries, and you know it. But you didn't make the 8 either, Robbie. So you can't gloat too much. Last ones, Bailey Hayward has extended with the Bulldogs for a further 2 years, and Billy Burns extended with 1 year with the Sharks. So good deals for both of them. Anything else you want to add to the signings?
No, all good with that.
Right. Now for the longest section of the show, injuries, mate. So the most talked about ones, Broncos, Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam, Selwyn Cobbo, hamstrings for all of them. Adam Reynolds apparently will be back in 4 weeks, and Ezra Mam and Selwyn Cobbo. They said Selwyn Cobbo could be between 4 and 6, and Ezra Mam is 6 weeks at minimum. So my question to you later is about the Broncos, but a massive blow for them. But yeah, it is what it is. I can't feel too much sympathy for them. Moses Sully for the Dragons. Moses Sully is still TBD, but he's got a suspected MCL injury. Takes a bit of sting out of their attack when they play us this week, which helps. And Jacko also said coach did 2 hammies in 1 run, just not his own. Yeah. But that was he one intercept just ruined the Broncos season potentially. Jesse Ramian broke his thumb and is out for 4 to 6 weeks for the Sharks. And AKP, who we just talked about for the Titans, he also did a hamstring, is out for 4 to 6 weeks. So some big losses for them. Now we get to HIA Town, mate. It could have its own page. I'll rattle off all the players. Smarty Martin from the Warriors, Kurt Capewell from the Warriors, Jake Trebojevic from the Seagulls, Phoenix Crossland from the Knights, and Sua Wong from the Roosters. All failed HIAs, all have 11-day stand-downs. So massive. And Jacko said seen a lot of hammies lately. Yeah, it seems to be there was a period of time where it was MCLs and ACLs. Then it went to hammies and HIAs. So I don't know.
Weak hamstrings.
And Bjorn said tipping that made Richie's weekend the Broncos getting injured.
Oh, mate. My smile was, I was smiling like a Cheshire cat.
It helps. It helps one of the teams that are chasing the Warriors on the ladder having something like that happen. So we'll see. So that's it for all the injuries. Naughty Boy Corner, mate. We've got 3. Owen Hess got a grade 2 dangerous contact. He's out for 3 matches. Bryden Nakora from the Sharks, grade 2 careless high tackle, out for 3 matches. And then Francis Molo, grade 1 contrary conduct, 1 match. Your take on any of those?
No, I was just giggling because Molo's been that angry guy. Just that game had some beef in it. It was just fun to watch, but I can't really argue any of the sentencing much though. No,
I think for what they've been doing, I think it's on the normal side of things. So we'll go on to NRLW, mate. We had the Sharks defeated the Dragons 20-6. Knights defeated the Tigers 30-6. Warriors defeated the Bulldogs 34-6. Roosters defeated Titans 24-8. Broncos defeated Raiders 44-28. And then Cowboys defeated Eels 14-10. And then this week, round 7, the 5th place Sharks play the 9th place Titans. 2nd place Broncos play 7th place Eels. 6th place Warriors play the 12th place Raiders. This is their first home game being played down in Waikato on Saturday. Then the 11th place Tigers play the 10th place Dragons. 1st place Roosters play 3rd place Knights. And then 4th place Cowboys play the 8th place Bulldogs. And yeah, Paul's brought up the ladder. I think finals is top 6. So at the moment, the Warriors will make finals if they can stay in there, which would be good for their first year back.
Yeah, they're going well, and I think they've already played a couple of the harder teams like the Roosters and Knights.
Yeah, they're
going in the right direction though.
They've played a lot of the top 4 sides already. I think the only teams below that the Eels they've played, and the Bulldogs now. But yeah, they played the Roosters, they played the Cowboys. I think they played the Cowboys.
They did.
But yeah, they're going well. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they're going well, and Roosters are dominating like we all expect them to as the reigning champs. So we'll move on to round 23, mate. Kicking off on Thursday night with the Storm defeating the Broncos 22-2.
Yep, 4-0 for the Storm. Tyron Wishart, Ryan Peppenhausen, and Xavier Coates, the hammy destroyer. He had 2. That was it.
Yeah, and Nick Mooney got 3 out of 4. It got me all excited with me predicting him as the top try point scorer, and then I looked at the stats and he's way off. So I'm not going to get that one. Melbourne were clinical and controlled in this game. They survived an early barrage from the Broncos, but won the battle in the middle and shut down the Broncos' attack. Their kicking game kept the Broncos under pressure, and they converted territory into points with ease. Were handed a great opportunity to put the Broncos away with those injuries, and they nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was dominant enough, wasn't it? They were clearly the better side, more possession, better completion rate, more run meters, nearly half the missed tackles. Even without Jerome Hughes, they just had too much for the Broncos, especially with the injuries that occurred. So, yeah.
Yeah, and your take on the Broncos?
Yeah, really tough night at the office, which just got worse in the first half with both their halves injuring their hamstrings, turning to chase that intercept. Yeah, I think that surely casts some serious doubt over their top 4 chances.
Yeah, I thought they were competitive at first. It looked like they were going to bring the fight, and then it was that intercept. They were pushing, got the intercept, then bang, bang, both halves go in one moment. And it just sucked the life out of their attack. Without both playmakers, they struggled to adapt and never had a chance. It felt like Reece Walsh was trying to do everything by himself, and everything he did went wrong, which he is known to do from time to time. So, yeah. They're going to find themselves in strife, I think, with the close ladder and some tough matches coming up. They really need Reece Walsh and Ben Hunt to step up and lead this team attacking-wise if they want to keep alive. But, a lot of injuries, but it's not bad to go, we've lost our 2 halfbacks. Let's have Ben Hunt as our half. It's not a bad backup. So they might do okay. Payne Haas top fantasy with 83 off 68 minutes, and Tyron Wishart top for the Storm with 76. Who'd you go with?
I went Harry Grant. I thought he was terrorising them out of dummy half.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with Xavier Coates, so I left him off. I thought a double and taking out 2 halfbacks would have got it, but I went with Ryan Peppenhausen. Thought Pat had a nice game, plugging himself in the attack where he needed to and scored a nice try. So I want to give him some props. So, yeah, I went with him.
Nice.
And, yeah, Paul said, yeah, Broncos have Dolphins, Knights, Cowboys, and Storm again. So, yeah, Cowboys and Knights will probably help them out. Dolphins and Storm, I think, will be quite tough. but we'll see. Dolphins are coming off a hiding, so they might not be in the right frame of mind either. Next game, mate. Probably another quick one on Friday. Panthers defeating the Knights 48-12.
Yeah, 9 tries to 2 for the Panthers. Luke Garner, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, Brian To'o, Tommy Jenkins, Casey McLean, Isaiah Papali'i, Casey McLean again, and Isaac Tungo for the Knights.
Yeah.
Matt Croker and McEwen.
Panthers were ruthless and relentless once again. Made easy work of the Knights' defense. The line speed and defensive organization just kept piling the pressure on Newcastle, which forced plenty of errors and just a dominant display and amazing climb up the ladder from a side I wrote off months ago.
Yeah, pretty similar, Brad. They were shaky the week before and got away with it, but they're straight back into rhythm this week. They're just the masters of peaking at this time of year. They've left it a little bit later this year, left themselves with a little bit more to do, but they're really coming home with a wet sail. It sucks to watch, but it just has an air of inevitability about it.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Knights?
It's just been one of those years for them. They weren't in the running in this game and very much looked like a bottom half of the ladder side stacked up against the Panthers. They've actually, although they've been poor this year, defended a lot better than they did this week. But they just packed it in this week.
Yeah, they were never really in the fight, the Knights. They fell apart under the Panthers' pressure, and they had 17 errors, which saw them constantly on the back foot. Just outplayed in every facet of the game. Jaden Brayley, top fantasy, was 72, and Isaac Tungo was top for the Panthers with 65. Who'd you go with?
I went with To'o. It's kind of like you could have picked anyone, and I just liked To'o. And he got a nice try, and he runs for hundreds of meters every game, so he's an easy pick.
Yeah, I went with To'o as well. I think he led the Panthers in line breaks, and he had the most meters. I know he definitely had the most meters. I might be wrong about the line breaks part, but he was key in there. So I had to give him the nod. I see Paul typing away. Is he going to fact check me?
I know I was preparing myself for the next game.
Okay.
Who was it for line breaks you wanted?
Brian To'o.
Brian To'o, 3 line breaks. The only person to get more than 1 in the game.
Yeah. I do pay attention. Then the final game on Friday was the Raiders defeating the Seagulls 28-12.
It was 5 tries to 2 for the Raiders. Ethan Strange, he was on a tear. He had a hat trick. Xavier Savage and Sebastian Chris. For Manly, Tom Trebojevic and Tolu Kola.
Yeah, the Raiders played to their strengths here. They controlled the ruck and turned possession into points through well-timed attacking sets. They pinned Manly deep in their own half with a solid kicking game and kept their cool and reduced their penalty count, which limited the Seagulls' scoring chances. Another impressive performance from my surprise team of the season.
Yeah, they've come to like second halves this year, and it was a tight tussle in the first half again, but the Raiders have become very good at outlasting and then outpointing their opponents. And it was again the case this week with a burst of 3 tries after half time to take the game away.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Manly?
It was a good start. First try to turbo right out of the gate, and most of the attacking and defensive stats were actually pretty even between the two teams, but Manly made half the number of offloads and didn't ice their chances as well as Raiders, so probably just were a little bit more conservative and not quite as polished with it, I guess, and that was the difference. Yeah,
I thought Manly started well and showed patches of promise, but they just couldn't combat the Raiders in the middle of the park, and it cost them. They had errors at key moments, which stalled any momentum they tried to build. And after a quick flurry at the beginning of the second half from the Raiders, they never truly looked like reeling the Raiders in, and just being too inconsistent of a side this season, which I think is their biggest issue.
Yeah, both teams got over 80% on completion, whereas we've had like down in the 60s and 70s in the last two games. Seems like both these teams are better at controlling the ball than the other teams so far.
Yeah, and finally a team that had the highest fantasy points win. Ethan Strange's top fantasy was 75. There's a rule. Did you stick to the rule this week, Matt?
Had to, mate. Yeah, he was. It's just one of those games. He's head and shoulders.
Yeah, I went with Ethan Strange as well. Hat-trick hero, and he looked like on another planet compared to the rest of the teams. Hell of a game from him. So we'll move to sad day. Dragons defeating the Sharks. Big upset, 22-14.
Yeah, you must have felt conflicted here, Brad. It helped the Warriors, but
it did help the Warriors.
It was 4-2 for the Dragons. Gula, Tyrell Sloan, Buchanan, and Gutherson were our 4 try scorers. For the Sharks, Hamlin Ueli and Teague Wilton.
Yeah, another gritty display from the Dragons. They were tough and disciplined and showed good line speed on both sides of the ball. They made the most of their chances, and while they lost some spark in the second half, their ability to close out the game in the final stages showed the confidence that's been building with this side in recent weeks, making me real worried about this week. What was it? It was the Raiders, then the Sharks that they've both beaten.
Yeah.
So they'll be champing at the bit to come to Auckland and beat the Warriors as well and make a great run of 3 games. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But
so in rounds 6 and 7, they beat the Titans and the Sea Eagles to get back-to-back wins. This is the only other time they've had back-to-back wins all season.
Yeah, and we'll stop at it too. Your thoughts on the Dragons? Yeah, Buenos Aires must be shit Saturday for Brad. It was terrible.
Yeah, I thought the Dragons were really good here. They just kept finding themselves in good spots on the field, and taking the chances that presented themselves. I thought it was a real captain's knock from Gutho as well, and some of the energy he brought when they were coming up with big plays, and he was, like he does, he's up there, up and about, yelling and I just thought they were really good. But had Flanagan kicked a couple more conversions, I think it would have even been better for them on the scoreboard. But I thought it was a good win against a team that was in pretty good form.
They're a team clearly that we haven't that people have just sort of ignored because they're middle bottom table. Why would you talk about them, Jake? Basically, but if you think about back in round 14, they got beaten by 50 points by the Dolphins. Since then, though, they lost to the Sharks by 12. They beat Parramatta by 14, and then after that, their last 5 games have all been within 8 points. Now, this is the biggest margin, so they've been competitive, and if not, sort of winning lots of games. And I think what you were saying in the news, that he's got them playing for him, even if he hasn't quite got them in kind of finals or top half form.
Yeah, that'll be first warning, Paul. If you talk the Dragons up that much again, you might be out. You might be out, mate. I don't want to hear that kind of rubbish. But no, they've been playing bloody well. It's called a spade a spade.
And I've not had time to type the top thing. So Blake Brayley was top fantasy with 62 points, but Jack Dublin for the Dragons, top for the Dragons with 57 points.
Yeah, and Jacko said Tane needs to watch Gutho tapes over and over and then play like him, especially supporting through the ruckio. Yeah, that's a hell of a fullback for him to emulate. It kind of fits with his style, so that's a good shout out. We didn't talk about the Sharks, though, did we, Matt? You want to talk about the Sharks now?
Yeah, they only completed at 63%. So that they. With that kind of completion, they just presented too many chances to the Dragons. And when you're fighting for a top 4 spot, you just can't take any side for granted or turn up like that. You have to be up for the fight every week this time of year. So big one to drop for them at this time of year, and I was happy about it because they're fighting for our spot. But yeah,
I had the same kind of feeling. It sucked, but I knew for the greater good, it was okay.
Yeah.
The Sharks, so they created plenty of half chances, but just lacked the polish to turn them into points. A few defensive lapses and the handling errors at crucial moments just undid all the hard work they were trying to do and kept them chasing the scoreboard. Just need to ice those moments. You know, if they turn some of those down or turn some of those errors into completions, and they could very easily have won this game. But yeah, it's just the top 2 inches with them, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as Paul said, Blake Bradley top fantasy was 62 and Jack DeBellin was top for the Dragons. Who'd you go with?
I went with Gutho. I just thought it was a captain's knock from him.
I cheated and went with DeBellin. Thought he did a lot of hard work up the middle, so I gave him a bit of credit. Next game, you'll probably spend more time talking about the try scorers than the actual game, but the Roosters defeating the Dolphins 64-12.
Yeah, wow. 11 tries to 2 for the Roosters. Marky Mark, Noinga Nitawasi, he had 3. Billy Smith, Victor Radley, Hugo Savala, Spencer Leniu, James Tedesco had 2, and Daniel Tupou had 2. Goodness me. 2 tries for the Dolphins. Tavita Nafahu had 2.
And then obviously the 4 Simbins at the same time. They happened in the 9th minute. But yeah, the Roosters were at their devastating best. Even a 4-player Simbin melee didn't derail them. If anything, it fired them up. Further, they looked unstoppable, powering through the middle and used their pace out wide well. Their support play and ball movement ripped the Dolphins apart, and they just never let up, scoring almost at will. It was a statement win as they fight to make the 8.
Yeah, it was very dominant. All the run meters, post-contact meters, line breaks, all those stats in their favour, playing with flair, all while maintaining a good 82% completion. They just turned up in a mood, and the Dolphins just folded under the weight of it. It was strange to see. The Dolphins have been doing that to other teams, not have it done to them like that. So that was quite impressive from the Roosters.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Dolphins?
Yeah, it's just probably the worst possible outcome for the Dolphins in their finals race. I think if they'd won this game, they had a chance to leapfrog the Sharks and the Broncos into 5th. Now they cling on to 8th, and their points differential is still good because they had such a good points differential, but it does take a bit of a dent here.
Yeah, they're just completely outgunned. I didn't see this coming. I can't remember who I picked out of this team. I thought it was going to be close. But yeah, they couldn't slow the Roosters' momentum or win any key battles. They missed tackles and just opened the floodgates with poor defensive reads and just couldn't hold on to the ball. I think Paul brought up the completion rate, 69%, while a nice figure, not good in the game footy. And yeah, they've been showing a lot of promise recently, and this just felt like a massive step backwards. Feels almost back to what they were at the start of the year when we were talking about the Bennett curse. So yeah, tough. And James Tedesco top fantasy with a big 96. Who'd you go with though?
Hat-trick rule, man.
Hat-trick rule. We're staunch on the hat-trick rule. Marky Mark. Yeah, I went with him too. He's just been so good at creating opportunities for them. So Marky Mark.
But only 40 fantasy points. What? With 3 tries? Did he do nothing else?
Yeah. He was doing lots. I don't know why it didn't correspond to points.
Yeah, I know.
I was very upset because he's in my fantasy team. He could have helped me out. Last game on Saturday, mate. Bulldogs defeating the Warriors 32-14.
Skip it. Yeah, unfortunately. 5 tries to 2 for the Doggies. Viliami Kikau, Renakama, Inari Tuala, Stephen Crichton. Inari Tuala had a second. For the Warriors, Sam Healy, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. They were the 2 try scorers.
Pull up the couch for the shrink to talk to us, mate. A dominant display from the Bulldogs here. They bullied the Warriors pack and built pressure with a smart kicking game. They forced the Warriors to play catch-up footy, and that's never ideal in wet weather. And they turned the Warriors' mistakes into points and maintained composure. Well-deserved win and keeps them in control of their own destiny, and a top 4 finish.
Dynasty, we were watching some sort of 80s soap opera.
It was just I was going into my head thinking of the dynasty I'm creating with the Warriors and the Rugby League 26. But yeah, your thoughts on the doggies, mate?
Yeah, they came into the game with a reputation of being poor in the rain. I thought they played the conditions far better than we did. They kicked long, they played high percentage, defended hard, simply broke us down and showed how a top 4 side should play.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Warriors?
It was just a poor night from the boys. I think even right down to the selections, the drop in of Tanner Boyd and Sam Healy, especially after Healy was so good, standing in for Egan the week before. We just looked like we had the wrong cattle for the conditions in the case of our halfback selection. I guess it's great in hindsight, but a good kicking game would have been perfect in those conditions. But yeah, we need to find a way to bring back the winning energy this week, or things get even harder.
Yeah, before I go into my little paragraph, I know there was a lot of conversation on Sunday between you, me, Rue, and Hammer, and you were putting the Batman single out, trying to get some of the Brad positivity. And I was sitting there trying to write my review of this game, and I was like, I'm struggling to write the review, and I can't find any positivity right now. It was very demoralizing, but I thought the Warriors did start in this match well. I thought like the first 20 minutes, they were matching the doggies, but the Dogs swung momentum with that massive 40-20. I think before we went live, I was telling you, like that set where the Doggies kicked the massive 40-20, the Warriors were dragging them back. Each tackle, they were pushing them on their back foot. I was like, this is a really good defensive set. Then Burden just kicked it out of left field, and it just sucked all the life out of it. And then in that same series of plays, Tamati Martin went off with the head tag, and then the attack was predictable. And then they were just error prone. I love Chanel. He ain't the guy you want to be directing your play as like the sole guy, because they brought Chance in with him. Chance barely passed, barely kicked, or he didn't kick at all. So it was all the Doggies had to do was pressure Chanel, and the whole thing falls apart. So credit to them for being able to do that. But yeah, hindsight hero. Obviously, I think we made the wrong choice in dropping Boyd, as his kicking game would have been ideal in the conditions. But yeah, top 4 dream may be over, but the Warriors need to wake up and keep fighting. Otherwise, they could slip out of the 8. We'll talk about it on the ladder later. It's that tight. And Paul said the criticism of Webster's been around selection use of bench. It feels like going back to that with only 6 interchanges used. Yeah, I defend them a little bit on the interchanges because it was a bit iffy with head knocks, because Tamati went off, Leka went off, and Kurt Capewell went off. So they had 3 free interchanges. So they used 9. But yeah, I think there was times I feel like he should have used an interchange early to bring Sam Healy on earlier into the game and stuff. There's a lot, but I know your question's kind of surrounding that as well, so I'll back off that a bit. Stephen Crichton, top fantasy with 57 points. Who'd you go with?
I went with Burden. He just played those conditions so well. Kicking game's superb. Made it so hard for us.
Yeah, I went with Burden, one of the greatest 40-20s I've ever seen, and yeah, his kicking was the difference, really. He put so much pressure on the Warriors with that kicking game and showed how valuable having a kicking game is. So hopefully Webster put some notes in the notebook about that. Kicking means helps you out. But we'll move on, mate. Sunday, Rabbits defeating the Titans 20-18.
Yeah, 3 tries apiece. For the Rabbitohs, Alex Johnston, he got 2 closer to the record. Yep. He had 2 here. And Bentley Hape was the other one. For the Titans, Jalen DeGroot, Bo Fermor, and Sam Verrills were the 3 try scorers. 2 penalty goals to Bentley Hape, the difference.
Yeah, South showed plenty of grit. I'm just trying to look. Yeah, so I think Alex Johnston's on 209 now, wasn't he?
Yeah, I
was
think
the double taken to 209? Yeah, so he's not far off now. No, he needs 4 more for the record. So keep swinging with 2 apiece. But yeah, the South showed plenty of grit, absorbed repeated attacks from the Titans, and responded well with some well-constructed tries. Kind of showed the influence of Latrell Mitchell again, being able to Latrell knows how to put Alex into the corner, mate. Showed great composure, I thought, in the final stages to close out the tight match as well. And yeah, as we've already said, getting Alex Johnston another step closer to that try scoring record, which is what everyone at the Rabbits is really looking at since this season is basically done. Yeah. Your thoughts on the Rabbits?
It's just such a good grinding effort from the Bunnies to pick up the win here. They seemed inspired by the return of Latrell. They're actually behind on plenty of the stats, but I guess not where it mattered. You know, they showed more heart and desire and you know, that never give up attitude. You know, we saw it with Latrell stopping a certain Jaden Campbell try. So yeah, it was tight, but they won the arm wrestle.
This was a final. This was the wooden spoon final, pretty much. And so yeah, this was a massive game for both these teams as far as this season goes. Yeah, one of them turned up, or one of them edged it by that kicking.
I was going to say they both turned up. It was tight, Paul. Yeah, in your thoughts on the Titans?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for the Titans who were right in the game and went set for set and toe to toe with the Bunnies, but they sure do know how to find a loss when they're not playing us. That is, yeah. So maybe this one's edging them for the wooden spoon, but who knows? You know, they're a funny kind of team where they can come out and beat a top 8 team next week. So. Yeah,
a big win over the Warriors in a couple of weeks might get them off the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the game.
Yeah. Titans were determined and kept pressure on the Souths for the whole 80. They threatened late, but they just couldn't land the decisive blow with errors and key moments proving costly. Yeah, can't criticize their effort. And Simon said in hindsight, should never have picked the Titans. I think I picked the Titans too. I think we all did. And that's a big comp. But yeah. It'd be devastating for them. You know, we talked about it. They were meant to get a penalty, which could have leveled the game, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, I thought a decent effort in a game, just a few missed chances. Sam Verrill's top fantasy was 65, and Latrell was top for the Rabbits was 64. Who'd you go with?
Went with Latrell. Thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I went with Latrell too. He really helped get that Rabbits attack back in order. So yeah, against the Titans, it wasn't like they were scoring 60 points against a real good side. So, but they're just desperate for wins. So much needed. We'll move into the final game of the round. Eels defeating the Cowboys 19-18.
Yep. This one was 3 tries apiece as well. For the Eels, the Fox, Josh Adokar, he had 2, and Will Penasini was the other try scorer. For the Cowboys, Jackson Purdue had 2, and Braden Burns was the other try scorer. All goal kicking was even. 2 from 3 conversions for both teams. 1 penalty goal for each team. Just the field goal, the difference to Mitch Moses.
Yeah, the Eels held their nerve here in an arm wrestle with some strong defense and timely field goal from Moses to seal the win. I thought they were patient in attack and building sets and waiting for the right moment to attack. They didn't panic, which some teams can do in those do or die situations. I think they're still going to continue to be a banana peel game for any side they face coming up, which unfortunately includes the Warriors. So, yeah, I think I said it a few weeks ago. They're going to be a team that could really decide the fate of some of the finals teams with their ability to score upsets. So hopefully it's not a Warriors issue, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another win or two on the Eels calendar before they finish the year. Your thoughts on the Eels?
Yeah, great effort from the Eels to come out on top. They played really well to take the first half lead and then score immediately after halftime. They then had to absorb plenty from the Cowboys and overcome their own speed wobbles and infighting towards the end. I think Talon De Silva was really pissing Mitch Moses off with some of his service or lack thereof in those dying moments. But they held it together enough to finally get him an opportunity to nudge ahead. And you know, he's such a great player, Mitch Moses. He'll take that chance. But he can get angry, like Jack said.
He can get angry. Yeah, Paul Talon Silva will be wanting to go back and holding Papa Carousel's jacket for him instead of being he was with Mitch demanding a bit more better service from him. But yeah, your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Yeah, I don't know what more to say. They have a roster that shouldn't be losing as many games as they do, but they can't string an 80-minute game together. And I think Todd Payton won't be far off feeling some pressure. I don't see them righting many of the wrongs. They just it's the same old.
Yeah, I thought they did match the Eels physically and had plenty of chances to win this one, but just couldn't convert the pressure into points. And yeah, we've said it a lot. Too good a roster to be this far down the ladder, and plenty of questions need to be asked of the club in the upcoming off season. I'll be very surprised if Todd's there at the next year, but we'll see. Jermaine Hopgood, top fantasy with 62 points. Who'd you go with?
I went with Mr. Grumpy himself. He's such a big influence, and he picked up the game winner.
Yeah, I went with Mitch Moses as well. Now the opportunity for them, and he makes the Eels a better side. They just need to make sure he can stay healthy next year.
What's happened to the Cowboys? They had they've had to start. They opened up with 3 big losses, but then they beat Canberra, Penrith, Souths, and Gold Coast. Four wins on the bounce going into round 8. Since then, they've just not been. They've had a couple of close wins, but I mean they lost by 54 points to the Dolphins. They had that good run there.
Yeah, they're just too inconsistent. I don't know if they started believing their own hype in the period, or I don't know. And Bjorn said, when was last time Jason Tomalolo had a good game? It was very early on in this show, Paul, when they announced his massive deal, and I said by the end of his deal they'll be regretting signing it. It was a great idea at the time, but at the back end of his 10-year deal thing, they'll be wishing they could give him to someone else, and I feel like that's kind of where it is. I don't think he's the player he was, and it's either that or Todd Payton just doesn't know how to use him. We had those issues where he didn't know what to do with Jason, and I don't know. I feel like it's a big chunk of their salary cap they could be using with other players. I don't know. But it just feels like an unhappy camp. Which I find weird. We didn't have Todd Payton for long, but Todd Payton seemed to get the best out of the Warriors at that time. But they weren't. They were all really playing hard for him, and it seems like the Cowboys aren't doing that anymore. Which they started when he first got there. They were really all, playing well for him, and it seems to be like the opposite of what you're talking about with the Dragons, where the Dragons seem to really be playing for Flanagan. It looks like they don't. It looks like they're just trying to help Payton get a gig somewhere else.
Before we move on to the table, just a quick one. The Rabbitohs ended a 9-game losing streak with that win over the Titans. So that was a massive one, meaning now that the Knights are the longest losing streak with 5 on at the bounce, heading into playing the Cowboys this coming weekend.
Yeah, so they should break that one. It might be us coming up, mate. Well, we're on 3.
Don't say it.
Yeah, and Jacko has said Clifford's underrated. Payton's messed him about this year. Yeah, there was that time, if you can remember, you probably won't remember, Paul. They started doing those 4 games where they did really well. They had a good halves combo, and then out of nowhere, for no reason, after a win, Todd Payton changed the halves and didn't really give a reason why. And it kind of all fell to shit after that, basically. If you're building a good combo, you don't mess with it, and that's what he did. So I don't know. We'll move to the ladder, mate. You had top 8 last week, so I'm taking it.
I did.
There's
okay.
Only one change in the top 8 this week. Unfortunately, it involves us. But number 1 is the Raiders. Still no change. 2, Storm. Bulldogs kept 3rd. Panthers moved up to 4th. Warriors moved down to 5th. And then the Broncos and Sharks and Dolphins rounded out at 6, 7, and 8. Yeah. And you want to do the rest?
Yeah. Roosters in 9. Manly in 10. Dragons in 11. Tigers in 12. That all remains the same. The Eels move up to 13th. Cowboys down to 14th. Knights down to 15th. Rabbitohs leapfrog the Titans, who are left in last place.
Yeah, it's still such a tight game. Like I said it in that Warriors chat, that, we were focused on top 4. Now you look there, 4 points ahead of not making the 8. And there's every possibility with the Roosters being that team in 9th that the Roosters could go on a run. If the Warriors don't start getting some wins, they could drop out. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to be good enough to keep in the 8, but it's that tight, which you want in an NRL competition when you're not supporting one team. You want it to be tight like this, but it is very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, look, when the Roosters have got the Bulldogs, the Eels, then the Storm, and then Rabbitohs. So with 2 real tough games in there for the Roosters. So to see them on a 4-game run, hard to see.
Yeah, but see, if they get 2 out of those 4, they end up on 30 points. If the Warriors don't pick another win, they'll take our spot. We'll be on 30, and our points differential was ridiculous.
Ouch! You got the Dragons, the Titans, and the Eels coming up. Followed by the Seagulls.
We won't lose. Yeah,
you're not going to lose all 4.
Surely not.
We shouldn't, but we don't have a great track record against the Titans. The Dragons have been beating everybody. So that could be 2. And the Eels are fighters. But it is the last game for the year in Go Media. So they should, if anything, they should step up for that one.
It does feel like you've kind of flipped the depression.
Yes.
You're
on DEFCON 5. The world is coming to an end.
He's strangely pessimistic tonight.
I had it earlier. Yeah. Jacko said, I'm seeing this all. Okay, I'll tell you a story. My dad called me today and he said, what the hell's going on with that stupid team you support? And I said, it's not that bad. Said the Panthers have a tough game this week. If the Panthers lose and the Warriors win, we're back to 4th and they're back to 5th.
If the Panthers' 9-game winning streak comes to an end.
Yeah, they're playing the Storm though. So if there's any team that can stop it, it would be the Storm. But I still think at worst they'll end up 7th, the Warriors. I think at worst. I think they got a good shot of being, I think in my review, it said I see them optimistically between 4 and 6 by the end.
Which is cool. I'm fine with that.
There, but
yeah. So there's a bit more of the antidepressant there, if you feel happy. But yeah, we'll move on from that and go into fantasy talking about depression. So yeah, Richie still hasn't hit a 800 yet. He was on 795, the closest he's been. Mate. If he'd captained Tedesco, mate, you would have been home and host.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing, right? I captained him for 3 weeks in a row, and I think those 3 weeks were his 3 worst fantasy weeks. And then I take him off captain, and he scores 96 base score. So screw Tedesco. He's dead.
Yeah, and I ended up on 835. Shocking night for me with some low scores. I didn't make my comp that I've got that Robbie, I don't think he's here anymore, but that he mentioned earlier, he's got a comp that I'm in. I didn't make the 8, so I'm not in the finals, but they do a consolation cup, which I'm in. So hopefully I'll do that. I had 3 trades left and I used 2 of them because unfortunately, as you can see, I've got a lot of Raiders in my team and Raiders have a bye this week. So I needed to make some shrewd trades, which may bite me in the ass, but if I lose this week, I'm out of the comp anyway.
So now that Richie's out of the comp, we don't have to see his anymore. This is it. This is the final time we have to see his.
Richie's not in this. Richie's not in the comp.
I'm not even in the comp. I'm
Yeah.
just doing it for shits and gigs so people can see how poor I am at it.
Yeah,
Right, moving on.
I feel like we should make a comp so we can actually play each other. It'd be good.
I think next.
I need some confidence. So we'll go to the tipping comp. Not a lot of changes still. A lot of 5s and 6s were the general contention. Evelyn and Simon using the jokers, first jokers for the year. So good timings. But your son's still at the top, mate, on 123. ACT Hellcat is 122 on second. You're on 122 as well on third. The Yerk is just behind you. At fourth, MB Sports Fan fifth. I am sixth. I need a good round. Harry Poppins seventh. Bjorn is up to eighth. Evelyn 9. Simon 10th. The boy from SMB 11. Roscoe 12. Michael Pizzuto 13. Princess Cahill 14th. And Hammer, who gave up, is dead last. Princess Cahill only got 3 last week, so a shocking round for them. But yeah, so it's tight. It wasn't that long ago we were just hoping to make the 8, mate, and now we're tenders again.
Yeah, that's that Princess Cahill. That one screams trying to make a move and hope. lots of looking for upsets to try and just make a move up the table towards the end.
Yeah. So we'll go into questions. I think we answered everyone's questions, didn't we, Paul?
You did, but actually, I'm going to.
You're going to ask one now?
I'm going to go back to the table here. With a 5-point gap between the Bulldogs and the Panthers, is that our top 3 with 8 points left of the season?
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think so.
Order?
I think in that order. Raiders have a bye this week, so they go up to 40. Storm have Panthers, so they could very easily lose that. Who do the Bulldogs have? I can't remember.
So the Sydney Roosters. So the Bulldogs run in is Roosters, Storm, Penrith. So Panthers, and then the Sharks. So a real tough run in for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think the Storm have the better run out of those 2. So yeah, I think Raiders, Storm, Bulldogs will be the top 3 in that order. And then Warriors, Panthers, Sharks for 4, 5, 6.
Jeez, he's gone from
right.
Mr.
You turn me now.
Over optimistic in
you turn me now.
In the space of this is what we call manic depression. Is you kind of flip between the 3.
It's just because I'm happy because I remember I put money on the Raiders to take the Maya Premiership about 7 weeks ago. So that's going to come through for me, hopefully. But yeah, okay. So yeah, we both agreed on that one, Paul.
Did you? I'm not sure you actually allowed Richie to say anything. But he'll
I agree.
Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. He's just one of those penguins from Madagascar.
I think it has to be that. Yeah, Raiders, Storm, Bulldogs.
Cool. So yeah, no, that's the questions from the chat and from me.
All right. I'll go with my one first because I feel like your one's a bit longer. With the wrong Broncos losing both their halves for at least a month, do you see them being able to remain in the top 8 come finals time? It's probably going to yell at Paul to bring up the ladder again. Sorry, I should have said keep the ladder, Paul.
I can see them remaining in that top 8. I think top 4 now becomes very hard.
Yeah.
But top 8, I think they're good for top 8. Yeah, I think just a lot of teams around them. I don't see enough teams underneath that are probably in good enough form to push them out completely. Roosters are starting to look good. Dolphins are either really good or really bad.
Just to give you the Broncos final games, they've got the Dolphins coming up this weekend, the Knights, the Cowboys, followed by the Storm.
Yeah. So I see them winning 3 out of those. I would have said 2 until what happened to the Dolphins. But yeah, I think they'll get them, and then the Storm game will be the one that gets them out. So they would end up on like 32, 34 points. So they should be more than fine. So yeah, if they didn't have a guy like Ben Hunt, I'd say they're probably done. But the fact that they can call on an experienced guy like Ben Hunt, I think they'll be fine. And yeah, Bjorn said I think they'll be top 8. Dolphins and Roosters have got a pretty hard run into the finals. Yeah. So yeah, I think they'll be fine. Your question to me, mate.
Webby has been pretty stoic to the media in the face of a few losses and growing injury concerns. Do you think we've seen some signs of nerves or cracks in the armour from Webby? And my examples I'm citing are the dropping of Tanner Boyd and Sam Healy on the weekend. For me, it seemed quite odd and out of character selections. I know hindsight, easier to say, but that's, from my point of view, I think maybe it's a little bit of that, but what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, there were rumours throughout the week that Tanner Boyd was going to be dropped. And I know I spoke with you and Rowan Hammer, and I was like, I don't see it happening because that's a stupid idea with what we know is going to happen. We were all looking at the weather. And it's like, it just seems perfect sense to have your best kicker in your team right now be out there. And I didn't say it, but I was thinking, like, if that does happen, it shows that Webby's panicking. And you never want to see your coach panicking, and that's how it feels. That team selection, again, it was all hindsight stuff because of what happened. As I said to you before we went live, how, for all we know, Tamati could have, if he didn't get the head knock, he could have steered that team around, and then we'd be, praising the move. But yeah, Sam Healy, I know they may have had concerns with his gas. When he played the week before, he was getting a bit tired. But I still think they needed, and there were talks like maybe they let Lussick take the brunt at the beginning of the game defensively, and then bring him on, but they brought him on too late. It was like, I think the 56th minute or something. I would have been bringing him on like 30 minutes tops. But as much as we have raved about Webby, and rightly so, I think we've always had issues with him is his use of his rotations. He's not very good at the interchange. So I think we put into that. But yeah, I think it is definitely nerves. The Warriors desperately needed a win, and I think he was trying whatever he could. And yeah, Jacko said, I think I'd like Webster to stop changing the team late. It's like he can't make up his mind. Yeah, he always seems to have his 17 in his head, but he doesn't tell the rest of the people. Like you're playing mind games with the coaching staff of the other teams, and unfortunately he got thoroughly outcoached in this game, which isn't something we can say a lot from him. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous that it seems like he's making calls that he wouldn't normally make, but yeah, we'll just see. We'll talk about later. The team this week I'm actually pretty happy with, so he's kind of gone back. We'll see if the team he named is actually the team that plays on Friday night though.
So yeah, just not before we get on the teams, we'll do a little quiz. Unless you finished the answering.
What did you have any opinion on it, on your own question, Richie?
Yeah, possibly a bit of nerves from Webby, or a little bit of stress from the tough period we're enduring. But I couldn't really blame him, to be fair.
All right, quiz time, Paul.
So yeah, we've had a game won by a one-pointer. So only 2 players have kicked more than one pointer this season. Do you know? Can you say? Do you know who they are?
I
More
feel
than
like one is
point.
Mitch Moses. Is Mitch Moses one? I'm sure that wasn't his first 1-pointer.
That was his first 1-pointer of the season.
Okay, crap. I think Zach Lomax got them one too, didn't he?
He did.
Zach Lomax has also got the one. You're correct. He's also only got one.
But so there's 2 players that have had 2.
Well, there was one player had 3 and one player had 2.
Oh. I got no idea.
You got me stumped, Paul. You got me absolutely stumped.
Jamal Fogarty?
No, he hasn't got any this this year.
There you go.
So the other players who have knocked over one: Jamie Humphreys, Sam Walker, Ryan Pappenhausen, Adam Donaghy, Luke Metcalf, Isaiah Katoa. They've all knocked over one. Does that ring any better? Does that help you with jog who might be the top 2? Somebody from the Knights and someone from the Sharks.
Nico Hines?
No.
Trindle.
Yes, Braden Trindle has got 3, and Jack Cogger has got 2.
Jeez.
Wow, that was a good quiz. That was a good one, Paul.
Kicking's cheating anyway. Kicking's cheating.
You want to do 2 pointers?
2 pointers.
Cleary.
Cleary's got one.
Cleary's got one.
There's only been 3 this year that had 2 points.
Okay, Cleary.
Yep.
Zach Lomax?
Nope. Who do you say, Brad? Sorry?
Burton?
Nope.
Oh. I don't care, Paul. I don't care. I don't like this game.
Latrell Mitchell and Adam Reynolds.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. Latrell.
Hey, Jacko, you're saying the Union guy knows more than all of us. He's looking at the website. Come on. It's not like he couldn't even tell you who those players are.
Latrell Mitchell, Adam Reynolds, Nathan Cleary. I recognise those names, but there are a few on the other list I didn't recognise. But yeah, you're quite right.
I can tell you, Adam Fanua-Blake leads the comp in post-contact meters. A stat that actually is important.
He does, and who's second then?
I don't know that one.
Philip.
Okay,
there you go.
But
as you say, it's very easy to do when you've got the actual list in front of you. Anyway, here's the lineup for the Warriors versus the Dragons.
Yeah, so the Warriors play the Dragons in their second to last home game on Friday night at Go Media Stadium. You want to run down the Warriors team, mate?
Yeah, you bet. Tantua Piki fullback, Dylan Watini-Zelezniak, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck wings, Adam Pompey and Chance Nickel Kluster, as he confirmed on Sean Johnson's show. He's the other centre. The halves, Chanel Harris-Tavita and Tanner Boyd is back in the side. Front row, James Fisher-Harris, Jacko Ford, Wade Egan returns, hopefully. Each back row is Leka Halasima, Marati Niakore, and Aaron Clark lock. Interchange bench, Sam Healy, Eddie Edemaya Toyava, Dimitrik Vaimaunga, and Tanner Stower-Smith.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this team for what we've got at the moment. Yeah, I'm hoping that's the 17 we see. I don't want to see Freddie out there again.
No.
And the like. But yeah, I liked what we saw out of Eddie in his debut, so I'd like to see him out there again. I think Stower-Smith, while he hasn't had like any highlight reel stuff, I think he's been really solid the past few weeks. And Dimitrik and Leka, have been great. And yeah, having Wade back will help out a hell of a lot.
That's huge. That's huge.
So yeah, I'm happy enough with that team with all the outs that they've got at the moment. I'm happy enough for that. The Dragons, I know Jacko said newsflash, I can tell I'm nervous about the Dragons. I'm always nervous about the Dragons. And Bjorn said RTS is playing as well as I can remember. Should we move him to fullback and Tane to wing? No, I think he's found his groove on the wing, so I'm happy to keep him there. And it's not keeping him out of the game. He's still involved. And Jacko said probably our best lineup available, even though I don't like CNK at centre. Yeah, CNK hasn't taken to centre like I thought he would when I wanted them there at the beginning of the year. But at the moment, it's the best option. I know you could throw guys like Lecker in that there. I think we need Lecker in the forwards just as much. So there's meant to be, I think they said Rocco and Ali are meant to be back next week. So potentially you could see them switch. I think if Dallin has another dud, I would be moving Tane to that wing, dropping Dallin and bringing one of those centers in. But
the
yeah,
other way you
we'll
could
see.
rejig that back line is, I mean, didn't RTS start at centre last year? So
Yeah, but he was rubbish at centre. It was rubbish. It was diabolical. I'm still dirty on it because diabolical, mate. I had my predictions he'd be Dalian Centre of the Year, and he screwed the coach on it. So, yeah, we'll talk about the Dragons team now. Clint Gutherson's fullback. And Bjorn said, is this the only time Brad will boo the opposition more than Pompey this weekend? I've actually taken back on the Pompey. I think he's been pretty good this year. He's been solid.
He's been good.
I still boo him at his team announcement, though, because that's tradition. But yeah, I hate the Dragons so much. So yeah, I'll be booing them a lot. But yeah, Clint at fullback, then Tyrell Sloan, Corey Allen on the wings, Hayden Buchanan and Matthew Fagai in the centres. Lycan King Togia and Kyle Flanagan are the halves. Imragula, Damien Cook, David Clemmer front row. Leilua and Stewart, second row, and then Jack DeBell and lock. Then we've got Jacob Little, Michael Molo, Emi Silly, and Loco Pacific Tonga on the bench. Would have loved to see BMM make that bench since I could watch Ben Murdoch Whistler again, but it's not to be. Pretty good lineup as well. Losing Sully takes a bit of sting out of them. Tyrell Sloan's always dangerous if he's in the right frame of mind. So it is a game I'm worried about, but I am picking the Warriors because there's no way I'm picking the Dragons over the Warriors. I'd never sleep at night.
No one would let you forget it. I'm going Warriors too.
Yeah, the TAB agrees. They're heavy. They're strong favourites at $1.55, and not the shortest favourites of the weekend, which will probably be a surprise to you who it is. But the Dragons are $2.45 in this one. So strong favourites for the Warriors in this one.
Yeah, so we'll go into the rest of the round. I forgot to mention it's Indigenous round part 2. They elected to have Indigenous round over 2 weeks, so everyone could play an Indigenous game at home, which I think is a cool idea. But yeah, kicking off tomorrow night, we've got Panthers Storm. This one I was really stuck on, but I've gone with the Panthers. Storm winning will help us out, but I think the Panthers will get it.
I went with the Panthers because it doesn't help us out, and yeah, that's just the way the cookie crumbles from it for us.
Considering we're talking about second in the table versus fourth, second in the table, they are $2.55. They are longer odds than the Dragons against the Warriors, and that seems a bit crazy. The Panthers are $1.53 favourites. Now I've talked about their 9 game winning streak earlier, but even so, to me, those odds, that's the Storm are much better odds than that for my mind.
I think if Jerome Hughes was playing, I would probably go with the Storm, but yeah, without Jerome Hughes, I think the Panthers have the edge. But yeah,
there's kind of the edge, and then there's $2.55 compared to me.
I think those odds are crazy. I think it's a lot closer than what the odds say, but yeah,
I'm happy to say that the Panthers are favourites, just not that strong favourites.
Yeah. Then first game on Friday was the Warriors Dragons, which I've already said. Second game is Roosters versus Bulldogs. I've gone with Bulldogs.
Dogs.
This was another tight one as well, but
tighter than the previous 2 games, but $1.70 for the Bulldogs, $2.15 for the Roosters. So still relatively comfortable that the Bulldogs will get the win there, according to the TAB.
Yeah. Then first game on Saturday, we've got the Sharks playing the Titans. I've gone Sharks.
Sharks.
Yeah, this is the easiest game of the weekend. $1.36 for the Sharks. The Titans $3.15. Look, they're bottom of the table for a reason, right?
Yeah. Then second game on Saturday, Broncos Dolphins. I've gone Broncos.
Dolphins.
Yeah, I just can't pick them after what happened to them. But if there's any time for a bounce back, it's this game.
Yep.
Well, this is the Brisbane derby, isn't it?
It
Game.
is.
The Broncos, as you've already mentioned, have lost both their first choice halves, but still they're $1.67 favourites to $2.20 by the Dolphins.
Wow.
I thought it'd be a bit close to that because of those injuries to the Broncos.
Yeah, and then the last game on Saturday, Rabbits playing the Eels. I've gone with the Eels.
I also went Eels.
Yep, and TB agrees. $1.65 for the Eels, $2.25 for the Rabbits. Even though the Rabbits are at home, how did the Eels travel? 3 wins, 7 losses away from home. 4 wins, 6 losses at home. So not much difference whether they're away from home or at home.
They're in Sydney anyway.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, the first of the doubleheader, we got Tigers versus Seagulls. I've gone Seagulls.
Tigers.
Or yeah, I was tempted.
Again, this one isn't as close as maybe you'd think. The Eagles at $1.62, the Tigers $2.30. I thought that would be for one way you've both gone both ways. But to be honest, the Sea Eagles are in 2 places ahead of the Tigers, and they're at home. The Eagles don't travel, so three wins, 7 losses. 6 of their wins have been at home, 3 of their wins away. So I would say that the TAB's got this one wrong in my mind because
I got to pick against Richie on some of these to try to get past them. So
I think to me that's more Tigers than it is Seagulls, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Jacko agrees with Richie saying he thinks Tigers will get a win over a dispirited looking Manly. Yeah, there's something wrong with the camp, but yeah, I've got to try to get up that ladder. Then the last game should be easy to pick. Cowboys versus Knights. But I'm going Cowboys.
Mate, how you're calling that game easy to pick is beyond me. But yeah, Cowboys.
Well, yeah, I mean the Cowboys are $1.46, whereas the Knights are $2.75. I think this is a relatively comfortable home win for the Cowboys, according to the TAB. I
don't know. They're both trash.
They are next to each other on the table. They're both trash, Drew. Look, the Knights are on a 4. Their form guide says 0 wins, 4 losses. The Cowboys have at least won a game in the last 5 games, which the Knights have.
Yeah, I went with home team. I think if they were playing Newcastle, I'd have gone the other way.
Yeah.
And if you want to see hard games to pick on Sunday, there's a lot of hard games in there. Like all the picks I had, if I picked the opposite, I'd feel just as nervous. I feel like there's quite a few I could get wrong. I definitely wouldn't be using a joker this round.
That's for sure. So anything else you guys want to add before we let everyone go?
I'm going to say I've got to put $2 on the Tigers because I think that's crazy odds there.
Nice.
And I might throw 2 on the Storm because again at $2.55 to me that's just too far. That's just too much.
Yeah, I think I did a 4-game multi where I took the Panthers game, Warriors game, Broncos game, and another game out of it.
I was going to say that tells you how nervous Brad is this weekend because Brad goes for a full 8-game multi every week, and this is probably perhaps the first week of the season where he's not, or he's pulled out that many at least.
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing an 8-game multi at some point. I'll get the itch. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. here on YouTube or Facebook. Just remember, search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Thanks for joining me again, Richie, and cheers, Paul, for your help in the background. And good night, everyone.
I've got to end the stream.